I'm Trevor Stachowiak. I played for the Tauros for from 2020 to 2024, and I grew up just north of Chicago in a suburb called Glencoe, Illinois.
How did you get involved in hockey?
Sure. I think just from a young age, my brother, he started playing. He went to an AHL game for the Chicago Wolves, and I think he kind of just fell in love with it. And obviously, being the younger brother, I wanted to do whatever he was doing. So as soon as he kind of got introduced to hockey, that's when as soon as I started to fall in love with it too. So started skating and then just kept playing from there and just decided it was going to be my thing. So yeah, so thanks to my brother and obviously, my parents and all that for their support and helping me throughout my career.
Do you recall a moment or point in your life where you realized that you wanted to make hockey your career?
I think that really, I kind of just loved it from the start. I don't think there was a specific moment. I think I always remember just, loving going to the rink and being part of being on a team is definitely what makes hockey special too. I think a lot of my best memories just come from being around great teammates and great people. And, I'm still in contact with tons of the teammates I've played with in Minot, for example. I think it just builds so many strong relationships and that it's just a special game. So
Who would you say was the most influential person during your time in Minot?
for sure, I mean, I think there's a long list I can name off. I don't want to choose one. My first year, my head coach was Shane Wagner, and then for the next 3 years, it was Cody Campbell, and obviously had so many great assistants along the way there, and so all the coaches I think were so important to me and helped me a ton, especially year to year. I think I was in different stages in my career, like early on, I was just kind of figuring it out and finding my way. And then as I continued, it was more of like help with, helping be more of like a leader of the team, of course, and staying and making sure all relationships are good and stuff and having a great relationship with the coach and kind of, being that middle person between, the team and the coaching staff, I think. So that was special. And so, of course, all the coaches, and then obviously Mr. Porter, who has, done so much for me over my career and obviously in juniors, he does so much for that team, and so there's so many people to thank. Of course, my billets, the Carbos, I was with them for 4 years, and we're still obviously have a great relationship, and they're like family to me now. They're like free built-in family that came along with playing hockey, and I kind of coming to Minot, they made everything so easy for me and just kind of made me feel at home right away and just helped me fall in love with Minot. And obviously all the trainers we've had, especially Kevin Melby, he was awesome. And geez, Canada, obviously Peter Theodos, so many people. I got to say everyone. I'm not going to choose one because everyone's just so special there and was so great to me.
Now, you mentioned Cody and you mentioned Porter. Do you have any fun stories about them to share?
Oh geez. I guess I've got a ton of just a countless amount of stories for them. I don't know if they're all, you know, I can't even choose one. I mean, Mr. Porter, obviously, we spent so much time with him. He driving the bus for us and seeing him every day. And he said he was always, working on some sort of project or something to, make the program even better. So I think for him, I think what I always remember just about him is just how much he put into the program and how much he gave back to us players. And he always was looking for ways to make our lives better and to make the program better. So for him, I think I always just remember how much he cared about everyone. And obviously Cody, the same thing. I don't know. Funny stories. I've got a ton of stories with Cody. We spent quite a lot of time together, quite a lot of bus trips together. Um, you know, I don't know. I don't think there's one. There's just countless memories with both of them. I think is a good way to put it. I can't just pinpoint one story for either of them.
Is there something you learned while you were in Minot that you still use to this day, whether it's a life lesson or a skill on the ice?
I think that my time in Minot, one of my biggest takeaways is just how important your character is off the ice. I mean, as you go up the levels throughout hockey, I think everyone obviously knows how to play and knows what they're doing in that sense. But I think what really separates just people is just having a really strong character and how much of an emphasis was put on, being a good human being, being a good man, being a good teammate, always being there for your teammates and, everyone around you. I think that's just something I think I'll take with me, even beyond hockey. It's just such an important lesson, and I'm really, really glad that was something that was so strongly emphasized there in Minot.
Was there a place in Minot that you always found yourself at?
Sure, we especially the last 2 years, I think we made it a routine to go to Spicy Pie on Monday. So we'd have Spicy Pie Mondays with a good squad every Monday. That was fun times. I remember sometimes Monday practices were pretty tough, so we were always looking forward to going there and having a good time and just hanging out there. It was a good routine.
You played in Minot for 4 years and you hold the record for most games as a Toro with well over 200 games. What did it mean to you to wear the Toros jersey?
For sure. I mean, yeah, that's a lot of hockey, but I think it was just such a perfect fit for me. You know, it, seeing the work that goes on behind the scenes, it kind of and the fan base they have and the people just supporting you every day, it just makes you proud to represent that organization wearing the Toros jersey. It means so much, not only just because obviously you're playing for a great program, but you're also playing for, it seems like you're playing for the community all the time. There's so many people who do so much for the program in Minot that it's just it feels like you have a strong community behind you, and I think that's probably what was the most special part about it is like you want to win for all the people who are putting in just as much effort as you are on the ice that and they're doing off the ice with recruiting, with the logistical things and sponsors and everything, billets, of course, everyone behind the scenes.
And you were a 2-year captain. What was that conversation with Cody like when you found out you were going to be captain?
I geez, I feel like it was announced in the locker room. I think that's kind of when I first heard it, and I was just like, wow, that's a very special honor, and kind of I want to do my best to help build a really strong culture there and make things have a good impact there. So I think it just made me made me want to, do even more for that program. So I think obviously it's a very special honor, but it's something that was easy to do with the teammates I had and all the coaches and support that was behind me in doing that. It was definitely fun to do, and I hope I had a good impact in doing that and being in that position.
What do you think was kind of that inspiration for your leadership style as captain?
I think I always responded best to people who are leading by example, and anyone can say that they're going to do this, that, or the other, but I think the biggest way to show that and to kind of try and spread that throughout the team is just kind of putting in that work, putting in the work yourself, and being a good example for your teammates and just setting a standard for your whole team.
Now, your second year as captain, Weston Knox joined you as co-captain, and y'all had success there. What was the key to that success?
For sure. I think me and Knox are still we're best buds now, and I think he made it so easy because he's always he's a very happy guy, I would say. Not that I'm not, but he was very good. I think we fed really well off each other. I think he was very good at finding times to, lighten the mood and be vocal together. And I think we kind of paired nicely together with our personalities and helping. I think we just made each other's jobs even easier. I mean, not that we had any pressure or whatnot to do that, but I think it just we gelled really well together, and I think our personalities made it so easy to just go the extra way sometimes and be a leader when it was needed.
Do you have a favorite road trip from your time in Minot? And Braden wanted me to ask who your favorite roommate was on the road.
Yeah, I think you might want me to say him. We're roommates now, but he was a killer roommate back then. So I'll give that to him. I had a lot of times with him, a lot of times with John Emmons, I think are two of the roommates I had the most for sure. And as far as best road trips, I don't know. I think it was always pretty fun. Any road trip after we would sweep, I guess some of my most fun memories are just, we're messing around on the bus and just everyone's in a good mood after a sweep and we're all having fun. And of course the coaches were on the bus with us too. So everyone was just talking and, just messing around after games. I think that those are some special memories that, might not sound like much, but I think that's just some of the most fun parts of winning, having a happy bus ride home. And, Mr. Porter would always give the honks for the 4 points after, especially I like doing that, especially in, Aberdeen or Bismarck. I think those are pretty fun and fun to do. So.
Now, while you were a Toro, you got to experience Toro playoff games in the Mesa. How were those games? What were those emotions?
Oh, they were awesome. I think, you know, even as far as like the regular season, the home games were just so fun and so like it was just almost surreal that building how loud it would get, especially, when our team was doing well, we had so much support behind us. And then obviously from going to regular season to playoffs, I think it was even more. I think when scoring big goals, that place just erupted and it was such a fun environment to play in and it just nothing, if you weren't excited for those games, I don't know, something might be wrong with it because that place was awesome.
How do you feel like Minot prepared you for the collegiate level?
For sure. I think it prepared me very well. Obviously having 4 years in Minot, it was kind of my place in junior hockey to develop coming from minor hockey. So I developed, my first year, I really just was figuring it out, learning the new level and having experience doing that. And then again, it carried to the next year again, which I was just, I figured it out a little bit more. And then, from then on, you kind of just keep building off of the experiences and what you've learned before. So the same thing happens is for me in college, the same thing is, going on right now. Like my first year, I was obviously learning a ton and I went through an injury. So that was kind of that was the first time I've had a season ending injury, but over that time I was still learning and trying to navigate the next level through obviously you're watching a ton of games and you're still around the rink and knowing what it takes to work and continue to develop yourself. And then the same thing this year is just still finding your way and learning the new level. So I'm lucky to have experience, I guess, doing that in Minot. So all those lessons are making it, a lot easier right now for finding success at this level. So I have a lot to look back on and a lot of experience to know that, you've done it before and you know what to do and just kind of stick with the process.
When you decided to go play collegiate hockey, what was it about Minnesota-Duluth that stood out to you?
For sure. There's so many things. I mean, for one, it's in a beautiful location. Duluth is such an awesome town, and there's our campus and school is obviously very very good, and I think that probably the biggest thing was just such a strong hockey history here in Duluth. And, similar to mine, I feel like Duluth is a town where, everyone here cares about how the team's doing. And, you kind of feel like you're representing the city of Duluth with through hockey. So it has a, great history of success and, great coaching staff and is something where I want to be a part of having more success. So, yeah.
What was it like getting to share the ice with Braden? You played juniors together and then now at the collegiate level.
For sure. I mean, he was awesome to me. I think, when you first switch coming up to first getting to college, I think, having someone where you know them and have spent a lot of time with them, he's helped me out a ton with finding my way here at this level. And I think that, obviously we were best buds in Minot, and now we live together. So it's pretty fun, pretty cool. I mean, I don't know if you had told me that we'd be playing college hockey together back in Minot, I would have been pretty pumped. And so now we're living that, and I think it's pretty cool to see just to be a part of it together. I think it's awesome. And he's obviously a year ahead of me, and I had a lot of experience here and just helped me along the way. So it's been awesome.
What led to you deciding to be a finance major?
I think it's just I don't it's always interested me, and it's not the most specific thing. There's a lot you can do with that as a major. So I think it's nice to learn about finance in general and kind of keep your options open for down the line when you're finding a different career. So I think it's a good broad but useful knowledge that can help you in a lot of different careers.
Do you have any advice for kids that are wanting to go through the levels of hockey?
I think some good advice. It's probably not brand new to anyone, but it's just kind of stick with the process and try not to compare yourself to other players and their process, because everyone's different. Everyone's finding their way at different times. Like for me, it took me 4 years to develop in mine, which some players might only play 1 or 2 years of juniors. It's completely different, but that doesn't make you better or worse. I think it's just that was your process and your path. So I think it's important to just stay on your path and don't feel rushed or distracted by what other guys are doing, because if it's easy to go on your phone and see that some guys going into college early or this, that, or the other. So it's easy to get distracted with that. I think you just got to focus on, as hard as it might be sometimes, just focus on what you can do every day to just continue to get better.
And then finally, do you have anything to say for Toros fans watching?
Go Tauros. I mean, you guys are the best. I loved my time there, and everyone behind the scenes, my billets, everyone's the best there. So just thank you for making it so special for me. And yeah, go Tauros.